Breaker, breaker, good buddy. Smokey's got an indestructible supercar. You and your chimp best stay clear. Battle of the Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series.
Welcome to Battle of the Network shows. I'm Mike, here with Rick.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about BJ and the Bear, the trucker with a chimp sidekick series from the 1970s and early 80s. And we'd actually like to give a special shout out to one of our listeners for providing us with this material.
Yes, thank you, Ian, loyal fan of the show and participant in our Facebook page and Facebook group. And I guess he suggested that we cover the show, so we're glad to do it. And he helped make the show possible. I'll say that.
So thanks, Ian, for that. Provided us with a number of potential things to talk about, and I was maybe unduly excited about this one.
Wow.
Given the quality of the show. But it was something I wanted to revisit, and it's just not out there in general. I mean, it is, but...
Well, this series has not had as long or active a life post-broadcast as other ones, and there's possibly a variety of reasons for that. Mm-hmm. I hear different things, and it's not on official DVD. It hasn't been seen in syndication much.
Right. And
even though there's been opportunities, you would think, for it, but no. And I'm not sure why it's not on DVD exactly, but there's a couple of reasons people have talked about. There's a fire at Universal Studios about 10 years ago that supposedly it remains shrouded in mystery as to what was actually lost there. But apparently, like a lot of the transfers they had from film to video, So the materials they had ready for anybody that wanted to show the episode without having to go back to the original prints or the original negatives, a lot of those were destroyed, and people have speculated that BJ and the Bear was one of the victims of that. However, there's a lot of contradictory information on that, and that's a whole another topic. I don't know. It's also possible, and it seems to me probable, that music clearance is a huge problem in this series, and that would make it cost prohibitive.
Right, they do use a lot of music. Now, some of it seems to be maybe covers of known songs. I think in the episode we're going to talk about, there's a version of Take It Easy that I don't think is the Eagles.
It seems to me a lot of it is Greg Evigan himself singing.
It could be, yeah.
Singing some of these songs. But I think a couple of people have sniffed around, but I'm surprised. I think years ago when retro television, RTV, they were heavily dependent on Universal shows, of which BJ and the Bear is one. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they showed it on there, which seemed like it would be kind of a good fit. They were showing all kinds of stuff on there, including, I think, Sheriff Lobo. Huh. And Sheriff Lobo, seems to have floated around a little bit more than BJ and the Bear over the years, which is interesting to me. Which makes me think maybe it's more of a musical rights thing.
Yeah.
And I think some third-party companies have sniffed around Universal for BJ and the Bear. And again, information is contradictory, but nothing's happened. So either Universal doesn't want to loan it out, or there's not elements available, or it could be it would just cost too much because they'd have to go back and remaster the whole series. So basically, BJ and the Bear, it's not that easy to find.
Right. And yet it's a thing that I think has some pop culture awareness. Like the Wikipedia article had a whole list of places that have made references to it. Like a surprising number, I thought. But probably more just people just remembering, there was a show with a truck and a chimp.
Yeah, that's what I suspect. I imagine it was probably popular with kids, and a lot of the kids that grew up and wound up making other pop culture enjoyed making references to it. But I don't know. I would speculate that outside of like trucker subculture and people that are interested in shows about cars and trucks
and chimps.
Yes, of course, and chimps. I don't know if a lot of people would be. I think people would be hard pressed to name memorable episodes.
Well, yeah.
Of BJ and the Bear.
After having watched a number, I'm hard pressed.
And the series itself did not last very long. It was not a huge commercial hit in its day either.
Right. So the basic premise was this guy, BJ McKay, a Vietnam vet, as so many of our heroes of that era of TV were.
True.
Former helicopter pilot, former POW, has decided he just wants to make a life of his own with no strings attached. He, I guess, over time, since this is 1979, and he left Vietnam and '73, I think, or something. Has got himself this rig and a chimp for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's ever explained in the show. He has a chimp.
I'd like to think he won him in a poker game.
That could be.
As troubling as that might be to animal rights advocates, I don't condone that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's how he got Bear.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either, actually. And Bear, apparently, at least in the real world, in terms of them creating the character of the bear, is named after Bear Bryant and is wearing a Bear Bryant hat. But Greg Evigan's character is from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he would have an interest in Bear Bryant.
No, I mean...
University of Wisconsin has decent football teams, right?
Well, probably not in the 70s.
Okay.
I mean, they do now.
Yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be unusual for somebody that was maybe a front runner or something, or nowadays Alabama is dominant in college football.
Right. And they were...
In the 70s, they weren't bad either. I mean, they were a legendary... Bear Bryant was a legendary figure, and it was a big program at the time, so I guess I'll buy that.
Someone from Wisconsin just strikes me as... First of all, B.J. McKay doesn't strike me as a fair-weather friend, unless you're hauling illegal immigrants.
Right.
Which we'll come to. But, Vince Lombardi.
Yeah.
This is B.J. and the Lombardi.
Sure.
He wore hats, too, right?
Right.
Or Tom Landry.
Yeah.
Maybe would have bought that. I don't know if anyone in Wisconsin would have rooted for the Cowboys.
I don't think so.
The
Packers Cowboys was too much of a thing probably even back then. Yeah, maybe Bear himself was a fan of the Crimson Tide.
Right. He jumped up and down in his seat every time they came on.
Yeah, yelled "Roll Tide" whenever appropriate.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the basic concept, and it's kind of an anthology idea because he's always in a different place, and it somehow gets caught up in people's business.
Yeah, he's essentially a freelance trucker, I guess.
Yeah, and he'll haul anything, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Although he does have some rules.
Yeah,
I guess he's able to suss out the situation.
Right.
At least if it's a suspicious thing from the border area, the southern border, he might not take it. Apparently.
Right. He won't ask a question.
Right. But he's not going to haul anything illegal.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe he just has to turn it down.
Yeah.
Part of his code is not asking questions.
Right.
So just be like, look, I could ask more about this, but I don't want to ask any questions, so I'm just not going to take this job.
Yeah, this is raising my hackles.
Yeah. And then
not going to do it.
Puzzled customer walks away.
Yeah. And then in the third season, they kind of revamped it, and I watched a Glenn Larson talking about it a little bit in the Academy of Television interview, and he didn't seem very happy with that change. He blamed it on Fred Silverman. He loved Fred Silverman; they were pals.
Yeah,
but they
did a lot of business together.
They did, and he said in the second season it opens, I think, with a 2-part episode called Snow White and the Seven Lady Truckers or something, and Fred Silverman just got enamored with that idea
of lady truckers.
Yeah. So they revamped it to BJ has a company now, and he has these lady truckers. And it seemed, I've only watched one episode from that season, but it seemed like it was also a way to reduce the amount of truck time and the amount of location shooting. It was they have a home office in LA. And he barely used his truck, and when he did, it didn't even have the trailer because he didn't need it. Yeah. But I'm going to drive over here in my my truck.
Gonna run out and get some beer.
And their office is conveniently located next to a bar with a stage and piano and microphones, and where a certain star of the show might get a chance to sing every now and then.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I was just looking at the description of how they revamped it in the third season. It seemed very contrived, but even the whole show is contrived a little bit. So he's roaming all over the place, but he still seems to run into the same people, his same nemesis.
Yeah, he goes through the same locations a lot.
Yeah.
So in the first season, it's Orleans County, which I think is in Georgia. Definitely is once that got spun off, but it might have been in a different state in the original show. But
clearly intended to be a southern locale.
And Claude Akins plays Sheriff Lobo, who's a very corrupt sheriff. And once he has his first encounter with BJ in the pilot, BJ's on his list. Because, why doesn't BJ just mind his own business and not stop a sheriff from human trafficking women?
Yeah.
But, And somehow they spun off this sheriff who was involved in human trafficking.
Right.
into his own, what Glenn Larson calls 1 hour comedy series.
Right. Even like ramping up the comic elements of the premise
Right.
and the character and turning it into more of a farce, I guess.
Yeah.
And now I'm confused about the timeline of this because both shows seem to run the same time, like the same roughly 79 to 81. Yet Lobo is a spinoff of BJ and the Bear, so
Yeah.
they ran more or less at the same time, though. And actually, for a while, BJ and the Bear and Sheriff Lobo were even on the same night.
So maybe Lobo started in the middle of...
I'm thinking that must have been the case, but...
I think BJ and the Bear, maybe it started, because it's a half season, so that's probably what the first season is a half season, so it started in January, let's say. Mm-hmm. And then Lobo started in the fall.
Okay.
And then they both had a full season, and then they both had another half season.
Right. I think that makes sense. And
yeah. And I know the second season has some episodes that cross over with Lobo or introduce, like there's an episode that kind of introduces the idea. That might be in the first season. Like one just called Lobo.
Yeah.
And then there's like this big, whatever, 3-part epic that, I mean, the description looks pretty cool, bearing in mind what we're talking about. But there's a sheriff's convention in Las Vegas.
Which is cool to begin with.
Yeah. And so Lobo's there, and then I guess BJ had at least 2 other sheriff nemesis in the second season. Ed Lauder, who's in this episode, and Slim Pickens.
Yeah, of course.
And they're all involved in this. This 3-part. It's 1 part BJ and the Bear and 2 parts Lobo. And then Lobo, they also revamped in the second season. Again, Fred Silverman, his urban bias.
Yeah.
He didn't like the numbers in the urban markets, even though I guess Lobo was doing great in the rural markets. And so he decided they should move it to Atlanta. And like Nell Carter was on it. And Lobo and his dumb deputies were assigned to some task force because they had juked the stats.
Yeah, the activist administration of Fred Silverman.
Yeah.
But I'm fascinated by this, though, because that's a pretty quick turnaround to spin off a show, for one thing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bold. I mean, considering that we've said BJ and the Bear was not a huge hit, you're building like a night of entertainment around 2 shows so quickly, having a BJ Lobo night, and
right.
Like they must have really been confident in this premise.
Our favorite NBC era.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to try something.
Yeah. If BJ did reasonably well, let's milk it for all it's worth, I guess.
Yeah. And it was in the midst of the trucker craze too.
Yeah, well that's another thing that I find interesting is it seemed to me like the CB radio craze seems to be inextricably linked with the trucker craze.
Yes.
But the CB craze had clearly peaked by the time this aired. It was more in the mid-'70s, I think. And you had, like, Convoy was in the mid-'70s. Yeah. The song Convoy, the movie, and a lot of, like, the theatrical movies kind of ripping off Convoy had been in, like, the 1975, 76. And then this comes along 2 years later, and it just seems like already behind the times. Although the Clint Eastwood movie did come out in 1978, which makes me think that this must have been ripping off the Clint Eastwood movie before it even came out.
Glenn Larson claimed no.
Because I'm assuming that it wasn't the other way around. I know.
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty confident that Every Which Way But Loose did not try to cash in on BJ and the Bear.
He claimed in this interview coincidence and said it was more Smokey and the Bandit than anything. And also there was some story about an NBC like researcher who got fired from NBC and then came to work for him and had some note cards. And one of the ideas was just a trucker show. And the idea being that it's what's kind of in the show, that since a trucker would be traveling across the country, you get to meet all kinds of people. And, but Glenn Larson is also in the interviews like, I think movie came out around the same time. You can check the date. And so I did. And it was a year before BJ and the Bear. Or at least 78. It might be 6 months or something.
Yes, and I would also say, for one thing, there had already been a trucker show moving on with Claude Akins himself several years before this. Yeah. And trucker show is one thing, but trucker show with a trucker that just happens to have a chimp as his co-pilot?
Yeah.
I mean, for people that don't know, Clint Eastwood was in Every Which Way But Loose, and he co-starred with a chimp.
Orangutan.
I apologize. Yeah. Orangutan.
At least you didn't say monkey.
Okay, well, never mind then. I withdraw that point because orangutan and chimp, clearly they're 2 different shows, and the whole premise is different.
Yeah.
But Every Which Way But Loose was a blockbuster hit, very popular movie, and it seems natural that now they couldn't have known that directly when they started making BJ and the Bear, but that's to me is very bizarre coincidence that not only are they making a trucker show, but they're making a trucker show with a primate in the truck along with Greg Evigan. Yeah. I mean, Greg Evigan, Clint Eastwood, yeah, okay, I can see that. They're more or less comparable, but similar enough stars that I don't see that there being any
more or less comparable.
I don't see any blatant ripoff there. I mean, they're both stars in their prime. But Bear and I can't remember. Was it Fred in Every Which Way?
I've never actually Clyde.
Clyde, yes.
Right Turn, Clyde.
Yes.
I've never seen those movies, but
okay.
I remember that.
Yes, there was a sequel to Every Which Way But Loose, which was less successful, but more successful than BJ and the Bear, I think. My point being that it seems like, the trucking and CB radio was huge in the 70s, but CB radio especially was a fad, and I think the fad had already kind of dried up by now. However, the truckers was a big thing, and you had concerns about truckers. I mean, we're talking about gas shortages, oil shortages, the 70s, things we've talked about here before were still relevant at this time. But it seems to me like maybe like a year or two earlier would have been a little bit better, and maybe kind of get some of that Jimmy Carter, that sweet Jimmy Carter vibe that everyone was chasing. Maybe this might have come along just a little too late. Although I'm not necessarily saying that the series did not last longer because of poor timing. There may have been other factors involved as well. Because
BJ and the Bear too, right?
Pardon me?
There was a writer's strike.
Yes.
Was it writers?
Yes, it was the writer's strike of 81, I guess, that impacted the third season. So there's 48 episodes, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
So 3 seasons. I was a little surprised that there's not more episodes of this, but part of it was the first season was short, and the third season was also short because of a writer's strike. So the legacy of BJ and the Bear is not huge.
No.
It lives on in hearts, as you've mentioned, and in pop culture.
And I learned that some people found the truck and have restored it to its BJ and the Bear look and take it around to truck shows. And Greg Evigan sometimes goes to the truck shows, and you can meet him with the truck.
It's very good. I think
and the bear's carcass.
I say what now?
Well, I don't know. I assume the bear's dead.
The bear's carcass?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's something we want to see?
I don't know.
Wow. Well, Greg Evigan, he thrived, as we know, after this, and of course he made an appearance when we talked about Year at the Top.
Mm-hmm. And later did My Two Dads and some other Glenn Larson dramas. And I read in an interview on his website that Glenn Larson offered him the role of Michael Knight.
And interesting.
He turned it down because he said, I just spent 3 years talking to a chimp, and now you want me to talk to a car.
That's great.
And then he got My Two Dads not long after, and seemed really proud of that time and being able to act with funny people and use those chops and have an outstanding mullet.
Like Dick Butkus.
Like
the chance to work with a comic genius like Dick Butkus.
Right, yeah.
Sign me up. I don't even have to sing on that one. He was probably like, okay, what's the car stereo like in this car, Glenn, that you're building? What's this car stereo situation? Can I sing along? Is there going to be... No, forget it then.
All right. And that's interesting in a way because we don't have exact evidence of this, but it seems like the episode we're going to be talking about might be the seeds of Knight Rider might be in it.
Yes, I believe so, and I think that's a reasonable conclusion.
Yeah.
So, shall we get into this particular episode?
We should, yeah.
Well, this one is called Kane's Cruiser, and it is the third episode of Season 2 of BJ and the Bear, and it premiered October 13th, 1979, and this was an NBC show, as we mentioned. It was on 9 p.m. on that Saturday, and Mike, do you know what was airing against it? This is a very, very difficult...
You said a Saturday?
Yes, it's a Saturday, so, one of these might be, but the other one would be impossible. I would give you $500 if you guessed exactly what was on CBS against BJ and the Bear. So without looking at my notes.
Not CBS. Okay.
ABC
so
will make sense.
CBS didn't have its comedy block then anymore.
Well, with $500 on the line, I'm not giving you any clues.
Yeah.
But I'll say that the show on ABC was a long-running show that kind of makes sense when you hear it. That was on this time.
The Love Boat?
Yes, very good, very good. The Love Boat with Don Amici, Battle of the Network show's favorite Conrad Janis, making an appearance, J.P. Morgan, and Joanna Cassidy. So that was on ABC at this time.
J.P. Morgan,
from Gong Show.
Oh, not the tycoon.
No, not the tycoon, J.P. Morgan.
The ghost of J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, and Gopher had like a stock tip that
Yeah.
that he was proud of, and
Right.
kept trying to get a chance to be alone with J.P. Morgan and give him this great stock tip, and things kept happening.
Right.
But no, CBS actually had a theatrical movie. It was the movie. Well,
Yeah.
it's not.
Not a well-known or not a blockbuster.
I would not say no.
Okay, so not
Not
Airport
particularly.
77.
No.
No, those
not one
always
of
aired
those.
on ABC, didn't
Not
they?
one of those, and not even the kind of movie like. This is one thing we haven't really talked a lot about TV movies and theatrical movies being shown, but back then it was a much bigger thing. Like now, I think, especially now, it's rare to have theatrical movies shown, especially.
Yeah.
Or it's a big event.
Right.
So, like, if you and I were talking about even like 10 years ago, like, and we did this, you might be thinking, wow, maybe like a Star Wars movie or something, some big deal.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, not to disparage the movie, although I've never seen it, but it's not like a big blockbuster event. It just happens to be like, okay, it's the Saturday night movie, and here's one of the movies we're showing 52 of them this year.
What was it?
Lifeguard with Sam Elliott from 1976.
It was like his big break, wasn't it?
I believe it was. Yeah, one of his
I don't really know that.
I mean, it's one of his most well-known theatrical lead roles, probably.
Yeah.
But still, not quite as sexy as Love Boat with J.P. Morgan and Conrad Janis. I don't think there's any dispute there. But no,
And Don Amici.
yeah, yes, no disrespect to Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
So this was the competition for Kane's Cruiser, this episode of BJ and the Bear, and I don't have ratings information. I don't know, but I'm thinking Love Boat probably won the night that night.
I think so, yeah. I remember BJ and the Bear being more a weekday show, but maybe they moved it around a lot.
Yeah. I mean, this
Which is to say, I actually remember watching the show.
Right. Well, I think to your point, I think when they paired it with Lobo, I think that was in the middle of the week.
Okay.
Right now, actually, this is season 2. I don't think Lobo was on before this.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to look into this, but
Right.
because just to mention it, when it was syndicated, they combined BJ and the Bear and Lobo for a while in the same syndicated package to kind of boost it up to like the number of episodes so you could show it every week. So it really was a weekday show and reruns in some areas but it would be like the BJ Lobo hour. And then someday you tune in, you get BJ and the Bear. Someday you tune in, you get Lobo.
Some days you get Heathcliff.
Yeah, what a stunner that would be.
Yeah. I was never a fan of that kind of syndication model.
Of like combining things. Like,
Yeah.
You like to know what you're getting.
Well, yeah, and quite often you would get more of the thing you don't want to get than the thing you want.
Right.
Like if there's one like bum thing in the package,
Right.
you get a lot of that.
Right.
And then there's like one cool thing,
Yeah.
and they barely use that.
Yeah. Well, in some ways, this episode we're talking about is atypical because it does not involve Lobo.
That's true.
However, it's fair to say that at some point in the future, maybe we'll revisit Lobo and focus on that show.
Yeah,
On
I
its
think
own.
so. And I mean, really, in the considering Lobo was only in the first season, maybe this isn't atypical. It's more typical.
Good point. I guess I'm saying in the point that I think for the show itself, I guess I'm saying like if you ask somebody about BJ and the Bear, they would probably remember Lobo more than they would
Yeah.
Kane
Yes, I didn't remember.
as his like main nemesis. Like I kind of thought, well, I don't know what I thought. I didn't watch the show growing up. I just remember like I think parodies of it and people talking about it, and I have very limited experience with watching the show itself.
Yeah.
But I would have guessed that BJ and Lobo were going up against each other, even though I knew that Lobo was a spinoff of it, which is why I was so surprised that they were more or less concurrent as series.
Right.
Because I thought I didn't know that that Lobo was off the show after the first season.
Yeah, it was like the Ropers.
Yeah.
Only
In many ways.
Yeah.
You know, Jeffrey Tambor would have made a good foil for BJ McKay. Now that I think
Like
about
a different kind of, like not a sheriff foil, but some other
it.
sort.
Yeah, like an administrator.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting in this episode we're talking about today. Eventually, we'll get to. You sort of have another role besides the sheriff.
Yes, there's the sheriff has a nemesis.
Yes, everybody's got a nemesis.
Yeah.
What
The sheriff, although he's the type of character who everyone is his nemesis.
Yeah, true. He's not, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
No.
Not on his bookshelf.
No.
Maybe like I think what is it? What's the name of the county?
Bishop County.
Yes, Bishop County. Bishop County Code Book Regulations. 1979 revised edition.
Right.
Might be on his bookshelf, but not charm books. He's not real popular with anybody, I think.
Correct.
Stubborn.
Yeah. Except for Deputy Higgins, who seems to be.
Yeah.
And even he's probably not popular with him either.
No, I mean he's a stooge, but probably they're not exchanging Christmas cards.
Now, right before we get into this, we looked at a couple other episodes as possibilities. One turned out to be a backdoor pilot for a totally different show that barely featured BJ at all. Mm-hmm. So there could have been a second spinoff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this one was about detectives from Texas. I think the name of the show would have been The Eyes of Texas, and Heather Thomas played one of them. Eve Arden played their boss. This is interesting. There was a different episode called The Eyes of Texas that also featured those characters, only Heather Thomas wasn't in that role.
Wow.
And they appeared on Lobo. Glenn Larson really wanted to do this show.
Yeah, I mean, he was pushing.
And even in that interview, he mentions it because they must have done a pilot because he said they recorded. He was talking about the theme song of BJ and the Bear, which of course features Greg Evigan eventually on lead vocals, and he said they also recorded one for a version of The Eyes of Texas for that show.
Wow.
But he was still proud that helped launch, as he said, one of my actresses' careers, because Heather Thomas went on to be on The Fall Guy.
Ah, yes, which is Glenn. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. If not for the meddling Fred Silverman, BJ and the Bear could have been the All in the Family of NBC,
Yes.
spawning all these different shows and hits.
In a way, it makes sense. He's you never know where he's going to show up. He meets all sorts of people. But there's an idea.
Yeah.
And the other one we looked at was maybe a little creepy.
Yeah.
And oddly contemporary.
Yeah.
In its creepiness. You haven't seen it.
I've not watched that yet, no. Nor have I watched the other one, but I kind of want to see this with Eve Arden, so I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah.
And it has people from Quincy.
Yes. Yeah, okay. No, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Another Glenn Larson show, Quincy.
Yeah.
Another Glenn Larson NBC show.
That's right.
Should we talk about the theme song?
Yeah.
Because the theme song rules.
It is weird. To me, it's weird. Like, I can't quite nail down the genre. It's sort of country.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like early, like big bit.
Yeah, in the credits, it's Greg Evigan is credited with recording the song, which is true to a point.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's like half the song before he even comes in.
Right.
And I couldn't find information on who else is singing. But there's like a chorus
Larson
of,
mentioned them in like a name in that interview, but I forgot to write it down.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the crack research team forgot to write it down.
Well.
I would never make a mistake.
No, of course not. No, that research team though.
Yeah, but apparently it was some singing group.
Okay.
Or vocal group.
Yeah.
And yeah, they sing. I guess you would call the verse.
Yeah, it sounds to me like a commercial jingle.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of style. Like, you could see them... Yeah, it's sort of a mixture of genres, but you could easily see that style being applied to, like, a Burger King commercial or something.
So, yeah, it's got twang, but then it also has sort of a little bit of a Dixieland feel and horns and the melody a little bit.
Yeah.
But then, they sound like a jingle singer. And they set up this whole thing, and it's about BJ. I mean, it's not like a generic song.
Right. It's telling the story of this guy and why, his life on the road.
Yeah. And then is his first line the thing about property tax?
It's the second line.
Right.
Well, it's in that stanza that he's singing.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg Evigan suddenly comes in the middle of the thing.
New dreams and better scenes or something.
And best of all, no property tax.
Yeah, best of all, he doesn't pay property tax. Like, really? I mean, that's the basis to build around your lifestyle, is that you don't have to pay property tax.
Yep.
I mean, I'm struggling and I never know where my next paycheck's coming from, but, God.
Doesn't have a mortgage.
Yeah, and not have to pay those California property taxes.
It's a truck financing, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then even in that, at least in the first couple of seasons, it gets interrupted with him, like, talking to Bear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, like, he's going to say, I'm going to teach you to sing.
Yeah.
And then he starts singing again on the audio, and it's a really long kind of in the style of the day credit sequence, even though there's only one actor.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, that third season is weird. They have like 8 actors.
Well, they've got enough time to fit them in, I guess.
Yeah, and you get Bear doing the thing, like doing the gesture to get another trucker to blow her horn.
Oh, yeah,
she
yeah.
does.
Right.
Which, I don't know, when you were a kid, did you ever do that? Like either on a field trip or just like if you're riding in your car?
Like do the mock...
like pulling down the horn chain.
Maybe when I was real little,
Yeah.
but then again, we didn't have a horn chain in my school bus, so I didn't have the opportunity
Well,
to do
you
that.
didn't have to pull the chain. You just mime
Yes,
pulling the
yes.
chain. Kids would do that on my school bus, and
Yeah, I don't really remember doing that.
One of those kind of things. Who did that first,
Yeah.
and how did it spread? Maybe it only was a southern thing.
Well, I remember more like imitating CB radio
Yeah.
than the specific thing about other truckers, but
Okay.
it might have been just I was young then.
Yeah.
I was more innocent. I didn't know the wild trucker lifestyle of
Right.
Picking up other lady drivers on the road. So
Yeah.
I'd be more interested in the CB lingo and things like that.
Yeah.
That I remember doing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't remember having discussions about property tax while I was on the road either. But
No.
presumably BJ and Bear are talking about that.
That's my other theory about why Bear is there. They're like, he's going to be in a truck. You can't have an actor just driving a truck. You need someone to talk to.
Right.
But we don't want to have a partner, so let's give him a chimp.
Yeah.
Maybe they went through iterations: a dog,
Yeah.
a cat,
A turtle.
yeah, like chimp's interesting.
Yeah.
A turtle.
Things with a chimp.
Like a turtle. A little Bear Bryant hat.
It would be like
They're
ironic.
always on the Bear Bryant thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever it was going to be.
Right. It would always be named Bear.
Yeah.
But you see, you'd have the juxtaposition of the slow creature in the seat with this fast truck.
Yeah.
But they could also accomplish that with him talking over the CB radio.
Right.
But I think you're dead on. I'll bet that to give him a sounding board.
Right.
A sounding board that occasionally throws feces out the window.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
So it's a great theme song though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think again we talk about this a lot on this show, but this could be one of those things where people that don't remember the show, they remember the song in the opening sequence.
Yeah. And written by Glenn Larson.
Of course.
Of course.
The multi-talented Glenn Larson.
We talked about that he was in a 50s doo-wop band.
Did we, I think maybe we did on the...
and that's where he got his songwriting chops. Oh. And then he wanted a more stable life, and so he got into TV writing.
Of course. Natural transition.
He also went to high school with Robert Wagner, for what that's worth.
Wow. But yet he didn't... did he ever... I wonder if he did... that show Switch with Robert Wagner? Was he involved with that?
Yes.
That was a Universal show in the 70s.
And he was involved in the other one, too. The one
To Catch a Thief.
To Catch a Thief.
Okay. We're talking
he got his start there. He wrote an episode, or wrote some episodes, and then ended up by the end was producing it.
Okay.
So, yeah, and he was involved in Switch.
Now, these ones were, again, like Universal shows from this era that I do remember being on that retro TV.
Yeah.
Not BJ and the Bear, but, the likes of Switch, which had Eddie Albert, and To Catch a Thief, which had Fred Astaire occasionally. So, yeah, Glenn Larson, he was all over the place.
Yep. Okay, so the episode.
Yeah.
Kane's Cruiser, and it opens with, we're at a test track in Oklahoma, and there's this black car with these big lights on the top of it tearing around this dirt track, and a guy in a swank fedora watching, and the car pulls up, the test driver gets out, and lo and behold, it's Erin Gray.
Yeah,
which brings us back to why I was saying we weren't going to initially do this episode. We thought we were going to give her a break.
Yeah.
Then it has this car, which is described at least in episode guide as an indestructible supercar. And she's not only test driving it, she's the engineer who designed it. And this guy, Gorley, played by J.D. Cannon, who I still don't really know, but I'm sure it seems like he did a lot of stuff.
He did.
Is some sort of weapons dealer, and he's pulling the plug on it. But then he gets an idea.
Yeah. So Erin Gray is really, as far as we know, as far as we, the audience, know, she's like the sole person involved with the development and production of this car.
Yeah.
At least she's the only one that we see.
Yeah. And it is black car. It does have some sort of special epoxy and alloy shell.
Yeah.
That makes it nearly indestructible. She drives it through a brick wall.
Yeah.
it does have this pulsing,
Literally.
flashing lights on top, and a bunch of computers and stuff inside.
Yeah, there's a lot of onboard capabilities and sensors and things it can detect. Really, the one thing it doesn't do is talk, right?
Right.
So that was the step that got us to Knight Rider. But
I just had a theory.
yeah,
That character doesn't get credit in Knight Rider, but she helped design the car, and she, having seen BJ with Bear, realized, if somebody's driving around in this thing, they need somebody to talk to.
I like that. I like that.
How about the car?
Yes. So this car is indeed a prototype of Kid.
Yeah.
In
I
your
think
theory.
so. She went on to Knight Industries, and
Yeah, I like that. I like that. But yeah, so we welcome back friend of the show, Erin Gray.
Yeah.
Just when you thought we might have a season without her,
right.
she comes back, but she's always welcome. And yeah, she actually has a big role in this episode. Yeah, so J.D. Cannon's idea is to pawn this off on the police, or law enforcement.
Yeah.
And fortunately, he's got a mark, Sheriff Cain, who's...
Yeah.
It's established that he loves spending money on things he doesn't really need.
Helicopters.
Yeah.
Boot polish.
Yes.
I think that's it.
Well, we're told that they actually say the population of Bishop County, and I think it's like the administrator that keeps threatening the his termination from like the board of supervisors or whatever says what's like 300,000,
something like that.
and he says it's not enough to warrant having a helicopter and all this stuff that he wants.
Yeah.
Including this car.
Right. And Kane just doesn't care.
No, he really doesn't.
And the pencil pusher is a bit of I don't know. He's a little over the top.
Yeah.
In his sort of pencil pushiness.
Right.
I guess.
I mean, I guess he's
He keeps
intended to be a nebbishy alternative.
Yeah.
To Kane, but
and he keeps showing up.
Right.
For a while, and then he's gone from the show.
I mean, he keeps showing up, but he just making threats about telling on him basically.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when the board of supervisors hears about this, they're gonna be mad. It's rather toothless. His threats.
Yeah. But Kane has a method for raising money, which is constant roadblocks and checks and
Right. And,
going after truckers.
Yeah, and use the money on fines.
Yeah.
The car will pay for itself.
Right. Yeah. And the guy, once he has the car, the guy says every deputy will need to issue 24 tickets an hour.
Yes.
With full shifts. That seems like a lot of tickets.
That sure is. You got to write multiple tickets at one stop in order to even approach that, I would think.
Yeah. The other thing that happens before they get the car is that a helicopter spots BJ on a back road. There's white smoke coming out of his truck, so they've been having a problem with someone bringing illegal immigrants through his county.
Yes.
But also they assume this white smoke is marijuana.
Yes.
Also, BJ has this reputation amongst sheriffs across the country. And so he wants to get him. He thinks he's bad news.
Yeah.
So I don't, it seems like they haven't encountered each other before.
That could be.
Just by reputation.
That could be.
But they've been on the lookout for him.
Yeah.
And he's got his distinctive red and white truck. So they chase him down and make him open the truck, and it's full of ice cream and popsicles.
Yeah.
And it's just condensation coming out of the dry ice.
He's going to some county fair or something.
Yeah. And so Kane, he's like, one day there's going to be something where you guys can figure that out from the car.
Yeah.
Cut to
hint, hint.
Supercar.
Yes, because I guess there are some practical applications that this car offers that
Yes.
will increase the number of traffic stops you can make. You
Right.
can make traffic stops with confidence.
Yeah.
Not worried about the embarrassment of a false stop and being wrong again.
Yeah.
Because of the onboard tools
Right.
that the supercar has, right?
So it's got, your speed radar, emissions detection.
Okay.
And it can read the tire.
Now that one's a little unusual.
Pressure.
that's a little
And that's
sketchy.
the first stop they make. So Erin Gray's character, Samantha, she insists that she gets to ride along because it's a field test.
Mm-hmm.
And she needs to. And Kane is skeptical of both a civilian and a woman riding in a cruiser.
Yeah.
And but they go along and they stop a lady trucker. I don't remember them ever saying her name.
I don't know if they did.
Anyway, for having her tires are one of her tires is slightly under.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but there's some nonsense about like people using tires to smuggle drugs or something.
Yeah, yeah. That's like the pretext for
Yeah.
making this a point of emphasis.
And then later, she and another guy named Cooper and a trucker in a beret named Frenchie.
Yeah,
who never speaks. I don't think.
He near the end, I think he does.
Okay.
He says his like one line.
Yeah.
Which is not in a French accent or anything.
Right, and he's not credited at all.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
I don't think he was.
And then BJ, so they're at the Country Comfort truck stop, which is quite a truck stop.
Yeah, this is I guess a recurring locale.
I think so.
Because I saw in the episodes that I did happen to watch, they go back to the same place and you see even more of it. And it's like trucker's paradise.
Wow.
I mean, you've got the lounge, you've got a pool.
Yeah.
A spa.
Cozy.
Yeah, it's like a resort. It's not just. I don't know about you, Mike, but I had a different vision of truck stops when I was growing up. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe some gas and maybe like a gift shop with souvenirs and maybe a diner, a greasy spoon diner.
Yeah, and the one I've stopped them on the road, and they do have showers.
Okay.
In the bathroom usually, and that's about the only other thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Certainly, not jacuzzis, and maybe there's like a secret door.
Yeah.
That car drivers just don't know.
I mean, this looks like a full like resort, and
Yeah.
It's quite an operation.
It is, and there's a song that goes with it, which is a song that is like in a bunch of episodes in the first season too. A country comfort song.
Yeah.
Even though the place is not in the thing, but
right, which was a real song, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was Elton John actually.
Oh.
That did the original.
Okay.
Not in this version, but
No.
not in this, but
no. Anyway, they're complaining about the whole thing and talking about the illegal immigrant issue, and BJ's not down with that. Not down with hauling illegal immigrants. That's where we learn about his code.
Right.
And Cooper kind of is like, you better not stir up too much trouble. You haven't been doing this as long as we have. You get in trouble, and then we find out not long after that Cooper is the one doing that. So, but he's worried once they know about this supercar. He's worried that he'll be able to continue doing this, which makes sense.
Yeah, well, he should be worried.
And BJ has this encounter with the supercar, his first one, right?
Yeah.
They say he's been going 80 miles an hour for 20 minutes. He points out that there's a plane flying overhead, and possibly the radar did that. They also get him on an admissions thing, and he says he runs the cleanest rig there is, and then there's some thing, I don't know if it was a farm, an industrial thing, an oil thing, I don't know, but there's all sorts of smoke billowing out of it. But Kane's got it out for him. He really wants to get him. He wants him out of his county. Yeah. And he thinks he's hauling the illegal immigrants.
BJ's pretty quick on his feet, though.
Yeah.
He'd make a good... Is this a thing, like, that you have, like, what's known as a truck stop lawyer? Because if there is, BJ McKay would be a great truck stop lawyer. And I hope that at least one episode, like Lobo or somebody called him that truck stop lawyer thinks he's pretty smart,
So a truck stop lawyer would be... Is that like a prison lawyer?
Well, I'm thinking of like somebody that like always has an answer for like Smokey when he pulls him over.
Oh, okay.
Like he knows like the laws and he's kind of a Weisenheimer in the sense that like if you pull him over for something, he can tell you like what the penal code really is, and he's got an answer for everything. Yeah. In this case, he does. Right. He's got like an answer for the speed. Look at that airplane, the emissions. He's got an excuse for just about everything. Yeah. I'm not taking Kane's side in this, mind you. Right. But I'm saying I could see law enforcement being a little cynical about him and come, oh, look at that. There goes that truck stop lawyer, BJ McKay.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. I also like the idea of an actual lawyer who just hangs out in truck stops.
Yeah, operates out and only takes cases from truckers.
Right. Yeah, I also like the idea of a trucker who, over time, becomes a lawyer by using the library at various truck stops along the way.
Yeah, he's always got his nose in a book.
Yeah.
And there's always like a bunch of sassy waitresses like calling him out and trying to get him to like engage in stuff. He's like, you always got your nose in those legal books. Yeah. And I was, one day it's going to pay off.
Yeah, and then his truck, he adds a shingle to his truck.
Yeah.
He puts out, like it's on a swing thing, and he puts it out at the truck stop. Yes. When his law office is open.
Yes, and when he passes the interstate bar, then he can be licensed in all 50 states.
That's right.
At least, or all 48 continental states to take business from any trucker. Yeah. He can practice law on behalf of any trucker.
Right.
And that covers a lot of ground, commerce and all kinds of things.
If anyone's listening at, I guess, Universal, if you want to bring back BJ and the Bear, I think this is a solid idea.
This is the way to do it. Our version's a little bit more grounded. It's not, we're not pulling on fads or anything like this. This is just good basic storytelling foundation. A premise that could last for years.
Right. You still get the anthology feel.
Yep.
But you also get the law.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And what is BJ McKay doing these days?
I don't know.
Maybe he learned to be a lawyer.
I wonder if we'll find out eventually.
He flirted with pop stardom, of course.
Yes.
He had his trucking company in California.
Right. And then, since he wasn't driving around the country as long, he didn't have to rely on the law libraries at truck stops. He could just study from his home base in L.A.
That's right.
When he wasn't going next door and sitting in with the house band.
Yeah. Anyway, in the episode, after this stop, we see Samantha sort of watching how Kane's behaving, and she's suspicious of it. And we're back at Country Comfort. We see the Bear sitting at a bar, kind of making time with a human woman.
He's a smooth customer, he is.
Yeah. There seemed to be, in the 70s, either the rules about having animals in restaurants were less, or BJ was a trailblazer with his comfort chimp. I don't know. We saw also Bear playing pinball earlier.
Yeah.
And of course he drinks a lot of beer.
Yeah, well.
Sure, that's not good for chimps, but...
Well, he's not the one driving, so
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, I guess.
Yeah, but BJ is hanging out with the other truckers and the guy that runs the place in the jacuzzi, and then Samantha shows up, and they all bail because they don't like her.
Yeah.
And
they kind of instantly link her with him, like in the way that, like, don't they, like, accuse him of being a traitor, like, right away, and they haven't...
Oh, I think, yeah, I mean, she says his name, so they know why.
So, like, oh, well...
Yeah.
They jump to that conclusion a little quickly. I mean, they're right to, but...
Right. And this is before they try to steal the car, right? Destroy the car.
Yes, I believe it is before. I think they're talking generally about things and what they need to do, right? And
wait, no, that
this is going to be
I
a
think
problem.
that already happened. There's
oh, okay.
My notes are all out of order. Yeah, the three other people go and try to sabotage the car.
Yeah,
which they fail at because it's a supercar.
Yeah, even though I mean that's kind of a serious deal that they do that actually.
Yeah, they put nails under the tires. They tie the bumper to a column in a parking garage, and set off the alarm, and they
throw eggs at it.
Yeah,
That was going way too far.
Yeah. Bring Bear along to do what chimps do.
Yes. Yeah.
None of this does any damage. It pulls down the cement column and the thing. And,
yeah.
And they're able to use the computers and stuff to track them down and arrest them. And then BJ borrows some money from the guy who runs the Country Comfort and bails them out.
Yeah.
And then they're hanging on the jacuzzi, and then she comes in, and BJ's being all defiant with her, says, well, if you want to talk, you got to get in this pool. And she just takes off her dress, and it turns out she borrowed a bathing suit.
Yeah, first she's like, whoa.
Yeah. And then they cook up this plan, because who better, as she says, to stop Kane than someone who knows his car?
Yeah, she's seen
to use the car against him.
Yeah, and she wants to. She kind of wants to put a stop to his abuse of the car's power. Yeah. Kane's abuse of the car's power.
Right.
So, yes.
Much like Oppenheimer before her.
Yeah.
She's questioning what's going on with this thing she designed for peace.
Correct.
She uses the CB to patch into the police radio, and BJ kind of baits him to come after them.
Right.
The implication was they had a very complicated plan, which turns out they don't.
No, they don't.
He pulls them over.
Yeah.
And Bear jumps on Kane. BJ kicks Higgins. And they steal the supercar.
Yeah. This is where you realize it's not that elegant a plan.
No. And they think they're going to get away, but then he has so many cars. They think, well, I mean, because there are like 8.
Yeah, he's like, there's one of us and 8 of them, So he's thinking the law of numbers means they're doomed.
And the Gorley guy is there too.
Yeah.
And riding along, and he does not like that car at all.
Right. I guess he gets a little agitated by. I'm not sure exactly. He just seems to be perturbed by how fast the car is.
Yeah, I think he's scared or maybe getting sick or something. Yeah.
And that turns him against the car.
Yeah. As they're driving along, they see Cooper's truck and like, we can just get him to pull over and we'll pull in the back of the truck. Of course, he's got a truck full of illegal aliens, and their sensors figure that out, that there are all these heartbeats.
Right.
And because it can read the metabolism of the drivers or some weird thing. And then there's a whole thing where he's trying to run them off the road, one of those classic 70s car things where they just keep bumping each other for 5 minutes. And
yeah, exactly.
But eventually BJ does some maneuvering and pulls in front of him and gets him to stop. And then all the illegal aliens jump out. And BJ, class act that he is, calls Kane and sells out his buddy and all the illegal immigrants. And save his own hide.
Well, he says isn't because he's like, you got a choice, and he points out that that's a much better catch than him. Although,
yes, it is. Yeah,
like in Kane's eyes, it is.
Yeah.
But if BJ's got really that much of a reputation,
right?
Maybe it isn't. I mean, maybe BJ might have been a bigger trophy in some ways, but.
And at this point, he did assault an officer, so I guess there's legitimate grounds.
Yeah.
Is stealing the car? I don't think it is, because the owner of the car.
Yeah, I guess it's.
They were just leasing the car. So.
Yeah, it's ambiguous. It's not actually police property at that point, I guess.
Yeah. So I think they're clear there, and he hasn't done anything else wrong the whole episode. So,
yeah.
And selling out his buddy, I don't know. It's.
You know what? It's folly trying to poke holes in a BJ and the Bear script.
Yeah.
We really shouldn't be doing.
Right, and illegal immigration is such a hot button issue. Even then, clearly it was already at least.
Yeah, Kane seems to be obsessed with it.
Yeah, so maybe not touch that, but I questioned BJ's choice there.
It's a good point.
I feel like maybe there might have been another solution, but
I think in the universe of the show, the vast Glenn Larson universe,
right.
Mind you.
Yes, we know it includes Lobo and Quincy.
I will just say this.
Yeah.
There is no thought at all to the lives of the aliens, as the sheriff keeps calling them, in that truck. I mean, it's purely that there's a guy committing a crime, and this is a criminal enterprise.
Yes.
So it's almost like, as far as the show is concerned, it's almost like it was just a bunch of kilos of cocaine or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was just contraband. It was seen as like illegal property. So.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying. In this case, the show would not even consider that at all. It seems like.
Yeah. I think that's right. So then Samantha realizes she's going to have to destroy the car. So they go to a junkyard, and I would say another, maybe not classic, but a thing that showed up on shows in this era a lot. The car got crushed.
Yeah. Now, I questioned Samantha's jumping to the fact that she has to destroy the car. Although they did kind of keep building that up, and clearly she was becoming more and more convinced. And they were making statements like, nothing can stop that, nothing can stop this. I guess, like you said, much like Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
See, now that you mention it, you explain it perfectly with that apt comparison to.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know if the car really needed to be destroyed. It's just maybe just don't let the sheriff buy it. And you can still use the car for good, which, as you've also established, we know that she did through Knight Enterprises.
Yeah, I think she figured out that, I have to go to the right people before I do this.
Yeah.
Not a weapons dealer.
Right.
But the Knight Foundation.
Yes.
For whatever, I forget the details of the Knight Foundation.
And fortunately, although the show strongly indicates, implies at least, that this was the only car of this kind in existence, she knows that it can be duplicated again.
Yeah. I'm sure she has her notes.
Easily, yeah. She's probably got a mold,
Yeah, right. She realized, one of the things, the light, I could just do a little light in the front.
Yeah.
So this giant thing on top.
Right.
That's a little inelegant. Or realized, I can apply it to any car model.
Yeah.
Not just a muscle car, but like a Trans Am.
Yeah.
Hey,
there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what she was actually thinking, like in the back of her mind. She had more aesthetic concerns than moral concerns. But
right. The budget at the time only allowed her to have a Charger or whatever that was.
Well, I found it interesting and also highly ridiculous that she made this mortal choice to destroy this car based on this episode. I didn't buy that at all. But
right.
But, more power to Erin Gray for convincing, as usual, selling concern and integrity.
Mm-hmm. And intelligence.
Yes.
And it did lead to them then delivering the crushed cube remains to Kane.
Right. It's like a solid rectangular block, basically.
Yeah.
Kane, I think, is on the verge of tears when he sees it.
Yeah. And then Gorley says something to BJ like, well, it's good that we're on the same side this time.
Yeah.
And it turns out I think he's in that three-parter too.
Ooh.
He definitely returns.
Nice. The three-parter with Lobo?
With all the nemesis. Yeah. So BJ and Samantha intimate that they're going to go maybe do some stuff.
They intimate that they might be intimate.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, well, there's an implication that their partnership will continue.
Yeah, and I'm sure it did for a day or two.
Yeah.
There's a new episode to happen.
Get back on the road.
To get on the road.
Yep.
Like next time I'm in whatever town you actually live in.
Yeah.
Not this dumb county.
Yeah.
I'll look you up.
Yeah.
Did you? I noticed in the episode guide I was reading, there's an episode that I assume is a clip show where BJ reminisces about all the women he's met on the road.
I hope that Samantha, played by Erin Gray, makes an appearance in that.
I didn't see her listed, but I would hope so too.
Yeah. She has to be one of his more memorable female adversaries / partners. A role that Erin Gray plays very well.
Of course.
Baddie winner Erin Gray makes an appearance again, and yes, we swear that we did not choose this one because she appears in a bikini
right
in the episode. But she was good. She definitely elevated this.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out the timeline of like how wasn't Buck Rogers already on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't thought of that, but now that you mention it.
And maybe they just were on different filming schedules or something.
Yeah.
And she's still got she doesn't have the blonde from the first season of Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Well, we've got plenty of questions to ask Erin Gray if she's ever on Battle of the Network shows.
That's right, yeah. Or Greg Evigan, too.
Yeah. We kind of joked a little bit about You're at the Top and some of Greg Evigan's resume, but he's an amiable presence.
He is.
There's really nothing wrong with him. He's not Laurence Olivier, but...
He's charming. He's got kind of a loose acting style.
Yeah. You talk about that, like, a lot of the music in the show, it seems it's not like country music as I expected. The show has a lot of music, but a lot of it is like, and from this and a couple of other episodes, it's kind of like that Eagles, 1970s Eagles kind of folk rocky stuff.
Right.
Like one episode I didn't, when I watching it, it just starts with, I think it's Greg Evigan singing Doctor My Eyes. Jackson Browne, I guess, at the very beginning. I think it appeared in
this one.
Yes,
yeah,
but like in the middle of it, but like a different version of it. I think. I mean, this, and there was another one I was watching was a song that the Eagles and Tom Waits had done. That was, but so there's definitely that mellow California vibe.
Yeah. More
than the Southern country vibe as far as Greg Evigan is concerned. I think.
Yeah, and I made the mistake of thinking of it as a rural show. But really, it's more the trucker thing, and like we said, he's from Milwaukee,
right? And and a show we didn't mention was Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes,
around this time too, which was talking about car chases. Right. If you're looking for a more rural car chase show, Dukes of Hazzard is your thing. But that was very popular.
And I saw somewhere a reference to Lobo being a Dukes of Hazzard ripoff, which makes sense.
Yeah,
definitely in the Boss Hog.
Yeah. I could say that, yeah.
Roscoe P. Coltrane mode.
Yep.
Yeah, so interesting little adventure here.
Yeah, it's nice to relive this, and again, sort of like the fads and like the culture, the trucker era. I enjoyed that. The show itself, it's not one of the best shows that we've talked about.
No.
Having said that, I've got a list of like 4 or 5 more episodes that we've talked about that I'm going to watch.
Yeah, they're ones I want to watch, including one with Ted Danson.
And Judy Landers showed up in that 3rd season.
Yes, Judy and the Bro sisters we mentioned in the Chips, the second Chips episode we did. Actually, I think maybe all those lady truckers are in that episod, from what I could tell.
Okay.
There are like 5 of them, I think, or 6. I don't know. I got
a bevy of lady truckers.
Yeah, and they helped him out. Paul Williams is in that episode, that particular one that I watched. He's also in another episode as himself.
Making a note to watch that one.
I think that's in the 3-parter.
Well, the three-parter is that's on the agenda. Let's just say that.
So 2 more things quickly. One, I have a memory to share.
Oh yes.
And 2, I meant to tell you about this before. I was gonna. I have some CB radio cards here.
Ooh, yes.
I was gonna maybe quiz you on your.
Please
your CB lingo. So first, there's memory, which was a memory that I was able to verify through watching the episode Shine On. I just had this vague memory from BJ and the Bear. This is a little embarrassing, but frankly, something I didn't understand. But just of some women riding in the back of his truck. Mm-hmm. And having to take off their pants for some reason, and then throwing something out of the truck at a car pursuing them. So it turns out it was only one woman.
Okay.
It was moonshine that they were throwing.
Okay.
They were moonshiners. And her sister had her take off her jeans so that she could use the jeans as like a wick for these moonshine Molotov cocktails.
Ah, okay.
So,
well,
it was good. I was like, okay, I didn't imagine that.
Yeah.
As a whatever 6-year-old, I didn't understand what was happening, why these women were taking their pants off.
But it made quite an impression on you.
Well, it was women taking their pants off.
Yeah.
But that episode is interesting in a way because it spends a lot of time objectifying BJ.
Oh, really?
Because these women, these two sisters and their mom, like they kidnap him. And then he's doing chores and stuff, a lot of shirtless scenes, and both of the sisters are kind of coming on to him. Maybe even the mom too.
Wow.
Or they're all sisters. Maybe they're all sisters, but one of them's a little older.
Well, there you mentioned a couple other trends that we didn't get into: moonshining,
yes,
and women throwing their pants at people.
Right. Yeah.
So, again, the 1970s, folks.
Right.
All right. So you're going to quiz me on some CB lingo now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
These are trading cards, vintage trading cards, correct?
Yeah. They kind of have a word balloon, a truck and a word balloon kind of thing.
Okay.
So the trucker's saying, I'm going to Smoky Town in my corn binder.
I'm going to Smoky Town in my corn binder. Okay, so you're asking me what that means.
Yeah.
Smoky Town.
Wait, sorry, Shaky Town.
Oh, Shaky Town. Oh, okay, jeez.
Yeah.
Shaky Town. I'm going to Shaky Town in my corn binder. That has something to do with the ethanol industry, and Shaky Town is Howard Johnson's. At least that's my guess. And we're going on the honor system. I'm not looking this up, folks. I'm doing this from my memory of CB lingo of the era. How'd I do?
That means he's going to L.A. in his International Harvester, and I'm waiting for him.
Wow. And his International Harvester.
Yeah,
that's the corn.
There's a Smoky there. So,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to put some of these up on the website in some form.
Definitely.
Scan these.
And there's more on the back. But corn binder, International Harvester truck. Copying the mail, police are listening in on CB conversations. Cotton picker, friendly term for CBers used for each other. Country Cadillac, a deluxe truck rig.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Okay, give me a chance to redeem myself.
Yes. We're going 10-7 for a Coke stop.
We're going 10-7 for a Coke stop.
Yeah.
How is Coke is spelled C-O-K-E, not K-O-C-H?
Correct.
Okay, I was going to say it was something involving a international conspiracy involving the Koch brother industrialists. And 10-7, well, okay, 10-7, they're going to a bowling alley, and they're going to get a nice, delicious Coca-Cola. Am I right?
He's signing off for a restroom stop.
Okay.
We have some D's here. This card number 16 of 60.
Wow.
What do we got? 7. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say these because they might come up in the next.
Oh,
card.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, if there's another one.
Yeah, we'll save those for the website, the backs, or Instagram or something. Oh no, a Tijuana taxi and I'm speeding.
A Tijuana taxi and I'm speeding.
Yeah.
Well, Tijuana taxi, that's got to be a police car.
Yeah, there's a police car pulling over the guy, and the police guy is saying, "This is what you get when I take it out of the brown paper bag."
Oh, like the radar gun?
Oh, maybe.
Wasn't that like covered up by a?
Oh, okay.
So Smokey would have, fine law enforcement official.
Yeah.
Would have the radar gun concealed in a brown paper bag because all respectable things come in brown paper bags or wrappers.
But I don't know why it's called a Tijuana taxi.
No, I don't know that either. Maybe I'll look that up.
Okay.
I'll have the research team look that up.
Got a 10-2 copy silver bullet. You're blowing my doors off.
10-2 copy silver. You're blowing my doors off. Well, this is obviously a werewolf attack, and that's the code truckers would use to tell others that a werewolf was loose in the area.
That sounds right. Yeah, because the explanation just says that silver bullet's coming in loud and clear, and I'm listening to every word.
Okay.
That doesn't.
Silver bullet. Man.
I don't know what a silver bullet is.
Boy, I feel excluded from this secret society of truckers now that I'm playing this game. I kind of took it for granted, but this is difficult.
Both feet on the floor and looking for more, because Mama's waiting with a 6-pack.
Isn't that how Casey Kasem used to sign off American Top 40 every week?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my guess.
Right. This isn't. So some of these don't seem to have the definition.
Oh.
So then the cop just says, and I'm waiting with a pocket full of green stamps.
Pocket full of green stamps.
But, foot on the floor. It just sounds like he's trying to get home because his wife has beer.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to interpret it.
Okay, well, sure.
Yeah, this one doesn't... Well, mercy sakes, there goes some bear food speeding by.
Some bear food.
Yeah.
Bear food is, that would be slang for police officer?
Probably. Ha, I eat speeders for breakfast. There's a car.
Well, wait a minute. No, bear food would be Smokey the bear.
Yeah.
Bear food would be a speeder that they...
Right.
So it's a trucker laughing at
somebody
hapless,
speeding.
Yeah, speeder, yep.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and there's a car passing the truck.
Okay,
so.
okay.
I'll go with that. Last one. Nobody knows where the teddy bear goes.
Nobody knows where the teddy bear goes. I think I know this one, but I'm going to let you explain it and preserve our all-access rating for the podcast, because I don't want to get into details, but go ahead.
I confuse them when I patrol both sides of the highway.
Again, well, you did a very good job of... Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not a euphemism?
No.
Okay. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense then.
Yeah.
I'm almost afraid to, but I kind of want to see the picture for that one later, because I still don't think I understand that one.
It's just...
Yeah, I still understand that. Wow, okay. The rich world of CB lingo.
I think the idea, if the cop is only patrolling, say, the northbound,
okay,
then they probably have a lingo for that.
I see.
The bear's going up top or something. Right.
Yeah. That's right.
But if the cop's like switching roads and they don't know, they can't say for sure. There's one out there somewhere.
Gotcha. Okay.
But nobody knows where it goes.
All right, well.
We didn't really get a lot of CB in this BJ and the Bear.
No, we didn't. And I don't remember hardly any of these terms coming up. But
no. Well, hopefully BJ knows where the bear goes.
I hope so. Wow. That was an interesting journey. I didn't do too well in that.
No.
This is payback for all those fame games that we've done, I guess.
Yeah.
Next time I'll have mercy on you, because I've been humbled.
Yes.
By the world of CB.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I think we've said. I've said my piece on BJ and the Bear. I enjoyed revisiting it. It's not necessarily something I would be clamoring for a full DVD release of, but at the same time, it's kind of a shame that it's not more widely seen.
Yeah.
But thanks again to Ian for helping us out and suggesting this episode.
Thank you, Ian. All right. We're going to take a 10-7. Is that what it was? That was the break for the restroom.
This episode brought to you by BJ McKay's Trucking Company. We'll haul anything, no questions asked, and best of all, no property tax. This episode also brought to you by the Country Comfort Truck Stop, chimp hairs in every drink. This episode also brought to you by beautiful Bishop County. Your moving violations pay our bills. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network Shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle of the Network Shows.